afternoon. I want to welcome everyone to our Board of Directors agenda meeting for December 9th, 2025. This is our opportunity to review the agenda for a formal board meeting that will take place on December the 16th, 2025. We got a couple presentations for today. Actually, three presentations that we have for today. We'll start first with the MDA check presentation from the Little Rock Firefighters, Local 34.
The support, oh, there we are. It didn't happen without the support of the city, so it's important that we're here today. I believe it was Chief Hubbard's idea to do this check presentation here, so it's a great idea because, again, this is a collaborative effort between all of us. If, you know, a little brief history, MDA, Muscular Dystrophy Association, their partnership with the union goes back well over 50 years, but this is something we participated in for decades, and then it went away, and then now, about a decade later, it's back, and that is because of the leadership of Chief Hubbard and our vice president back there. They made it happen, and then again, it doesn't happen without the support of the city and then support of our current fire administration. So we're thankful that it's back, and then also our brothers and sisters out there collecting money at the intersections, holding up the boot, the generosity of our community. This is a prime example of the idea that every little bit helps because people are driving by, they're emptying out their change tray, and then through those efforts, being out there on those days, we were able to collect this year to over $22,000. And so that is a very real contribution that goes to help very real people in the state of Arkansas. It just helps research and support the Muscular Dystrophy Association right here in the state. So we're thankful for all of y'all to allow us to do that. Again, Chief, thank you for bringing it back. Chief Doan, thank you for supporting it. And yeah, we'll present our check now. Chief Hubbard, you gonna? No? Come on, Chief Hubbard. I'm gonna stand over here. Mark, get. Come on, Chief Hubbard.
There? About you. Oh, Lord.
Are we getting you in there too, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief Hubbard.
Thank you, Walter.
Have a good day, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good job, man.
We'll now have our food commission presentation.
Where?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Shalen. I am the chair of our Little Rock Food Commission. It's an honor to be talking in front of you. I wanted to report back to some of our 2025 accomplishments that the Food Commission has had over the past several months. We started out, this is a newly formed commission. The first 2 to 3 months were definitely about organization and getting things straight from an organizational standpoint. Our first big project that we took on was the massive $175,000 Little Rock School District school debt. And we utilized the Little Rock Cares as a collective arm. And we've been working, continue to work to decrease that debt. This is going to certainly be an ongoing project for our Food Commission. But last we checked, we've raised over $50,000 to go towards bringing down that debt, utilizing social media to help bring down that debt. So that was a major project we worked on, and like I said, we will continue to work on. We also met, several members of the Food Commission met with Senator Bozeman, or at Senator Bozeman's office to discuss student meal debt. We met with two of his senior staff. We also had a meeting with Representative McCullough and Deputy Director of the ADE and the school nutrition leaders to discuss school meal debt. So it's obviously a topic that is near and dear to us and of utmost concern. We talked about the debt not only for Little Rock School District, but for our entire state. We also wrote a letter to Senator Bozeman regarding SNAP policy. And a couple months back, we had one of our commission meetings at Central High School. That was a lot of fun to celebrate Wing Wednesday. One of our commissioner members, Stephanie, works for Little Rock School District. She's the head of the food program there, so that was really special for us. And even a member of Senator Bozeman's staff had accompanied us, as well as a presentation from Principal Russo. So that was a really nice day there as well. We had a press conference to assist Little Rock families who had their SNAP benefits cut during the government shutdown, and we, along with that, we worked with the Edwards Food Giant, and at this time we've purchased over $15,000 in grocery gift cards. This month we will be, in fact, in the next couple days, we will be presenting to the Planning Commission a report from the Food Desert Task Force and a brief description of the Little Rock Food Commission and our accomplishments, kind of like what I'm doing now. We also have meetings, we've had meetings with several residents who are interested in starting a brick and mortar store in the urban garden via the Citizens Communication. So we just had a meeting there, and we're going to be discussing that market. And we also have a report from the Little Rock Sustainability Office on the Green Restaurant Program. So we've been very busy, and that's a good thing. We've got several projects to work on, and we're already setting up goals for 2026 with our commission members. There are 7 of us. Deanna Barlogi is one of them. She's with me right now. Thank you for the support. And Kathy Webb is on our commission as well. So that's the report from 2025. We look forward to doing some good things in 26. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for all the great work that you all have been doing. You're being very active, engaged, and innovative within your commission and really helping out the community. I know Director Webb has been a great board liaison with you all, and just really excited about the work that you've done and what I know you all will do. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yep. Public Safety Commission. Well, Director Webb, did you want to say anything? All right. Public Safety Commission. Let's give them a round of applause.
Good evening. My name is Billy Burris, and I'm Vice Chair of the Public Safety Commission. So we are just glad to be here. We are a fairly new commission, and so, but we've done a lot of work. And so we have some of our commissioners here with us as well. And before I get to my report, which you all should have a copy of, I want to thank Chief Helton for being such an advocate for us, Ms. Perez and her staff, and we couldn't do any of the work that we've been doing over the last year, 2 years, without the support of Mr. Harvey. He has been just such a help to us in what we've tried to do. Just real briefly, what we've done is try to listen to community concerns. We've done that and have been open to community concerns, and then try to give as much feedback as possible in that process. You have that information before you with the ShotSpotter issue, and we provided a letter to the board regarding that issue. We also worked, we had some concerns about Wakefield Elementary. We worked with, and the school board actually resolved the issue, but we were willing to work with them and work with Boys Club in that area to secure safe passage from Wakefield Elementary to the Little Rock, one of the Little Rock Boys and Girls Clubs where the youth would go after school. We also have been involved in the GVI, the Group Violence Intervention, and the commission, we developed our own Youth Violence Prevention and Reduction Subcommittee, and looking at data that will be helpful to us and to our city as it relates to research and data-driven solutions and programs that are that other cities are conducting as we try to make our city as safe as possible. We've also addressed the issue of the crisis stabilization unit closing. When that closed, we heard information from Chief Helton and other individuals regarding that. And so we've commissioned one of the other commissioners and myself were involved in a crisis unit stakeholders meeting last month, and we're going to be ongoing and working with them, and not only looking at the crisis unit here, but then in other areas of our state. So it's a little broader, but we're focused, of course, on what we can do in Little Rock regarding that, the closure of that unit and in our city. Some of the challenges that we have right now is vacancies, and so we're trying to get the word out because we feel like we are a great commission, and we appreciate, just being here, just doing what we can on this commission. And we also would like to have a bridge between us and the board as far as having a liaison between our commission and the board. So we're looking forward to working and doing all that we can on this safety commission. And so we just appreciate your support, and we appreciate the time that you have allotted for us this afternoon.
Thank you so much, and grateful for all the work that you guys have done throughout this process and in the wake of things and navigating and leading and serving. So just want to share my appreciation to you and also to the board members who are here with us today. Let's give them all a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I think that's it for our presentations. Any questions on modifications M1 through 6, as well as the consent agenda 1 through 14? All right, Director Adcock, then Director Miller.
Yes, I would like to have the locations and the ages of people being served.
Director, Tom, if you can, no, you got it, Director Adcock.
Okay, there. I would like to have the ages and the locations of all items from item number 6 through 14.
We'll do. We'll get that to you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get that. If Mr. Sanders hears me online, if we'll just get the ages and the locations and send that to email to Director Adcock.
I would like for them to go to all the board members, please.
Yes, ma'am. Director Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. On M1, it says to make appointments. I think in the resolution itself, it states who these individuals are, and I just want the public to know that it's Denise Ennett and Luke Underwood.
Yes, sir. Vice Mayor Wyatt.
Thank you. Can we get a report on item M6? That's the one to add some permit fee schedules for building, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, et cetera.
Is that Brad or Manish? Can't remember. Is that Nick? Well, I know it's more a monetary deal, but okay. Brad.
Yes, ma'am. I actually thought this was going to not make it onto the agenda tonight, so
Okay.
it's surprising to me. But what we're doing is we're just putting a small fee increase. I think it's maybe 3% across the board onto some of our permit fee schedules. It doesn't raise it up by too much. It's a nominal increase if you look at the permit fee schedule. So it's relative to cost of living and inflation.
Can we get a copy of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Your permit fees, what you're charging and what the increase would be?
Yes, ma'am.
And do we socialize this with anybody, or are you waiting on the board's approval before you do that?
That's it.
I'm assuming that's, these applications that are coming in, your normal routine work that you.
Yeah,
do
it's
as planning?
then just if you apply for a permit, it's just the fee schedule that's applied to whatever it would be, plumbing, electrical, building as a whole, grading.
Does that money go to the general fund, or does it go back into your planning budget?
It goes to the general fund.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anything on items 1 through 14?
I have a question.
Director Lewis?
I see the positive prevention program and funds are being allocated. So can you give timing on when they will receive those funds? Because it seems like the last 2 years, I've been contacted about delays. So are you able to answer that?
So with the funding, it depends on approval of the budget and then moving forward with contracting. So right now, we're bringing it to the board, I think next week.
Next week?
Yes, and then, so these are extensions, so it won't have to go through a full process, for lack of a better word. And so we've already been working with legal and with finance and contracts to get those contracts up and running, prayerfully by January 1.
Nice.
Yes, yeah.
Good deal, thank you.
And I did
Director
hear,
Lewis, we put a rush on that too in our office so that the contracts will be done.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, any questions on item 15? Director Miller?
Thank you, Mayor. Brad, I'd like for you to come up and give us an update as it relates to item 15. I know that you were charged with going back out and meeting some people that had concerns. So why don't you give us an update as to where we are with that?
Yes, sir. We, after last meeting, we were asked to engage with an individual who had some questions, and through those conversations, we were able to adjust some of the language dealing with process as it relates to height. So if you look at, in the ordinance, it's section 4, 36.342.1 G. It says, no building hereafter erected or structurally altered unless otherwise stated shall exceed a height of 85 feet. Development proposed to exceed 85 feet shall be processed as a conditional use and shall provide a minimum 10-foot step back for all portions of the structure above 85 feet along all sides of the building, including those abutting alleys. Where development is proposed to exceed 85 feet and is located within one block directly adjacent to another building exceeding 85 feet, whether in a cardinal or ordinal direction, the proposal shall be processed through the plan development section of the zoning ordinance with the intent to establish a workable development plan that aligns with the purpose and intent of the zoning district.
So you did what you were charged to do by this board as far as meeting with the individual or individuals and made this adjustment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any questions on, Vice Mayor Wyatt?
Mine is on item 19.
All right.
It says that we're going to increase the base rate of business license fees. Do we have any documentation that states what that is?
As previously discussed in budget hearing, it's 3% increase on the base fees.
Okay, what are the base fees, excuse me, what are the base fees now?
It's going to depend on which category the business falls in. In total, we have over 200 different combinations of fees.
I know where we're going now. Okay,
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Yep, no
Thank you.
Director Adcock?
Through 20, increase, I'd like to know what the present rate is and what the increase is, and the funds that will bring into the city? And where do those some funds go? Are they all general funds? Are they all targeted to another department?
Nick, if you'll address 17, and Manish, I believe it was 18, and Nick has already addressed 19.
So 17 is the financial policies. So that's just making some clerical updates to the financial policies and aligning them with current practices. The last time the financial policies were updated by this board was in 2002. So terminology's changed, practices have changed over said timeframe, and so that's what that ordinance is doing. It's updating practices and terminology since that point in time.
Okay. 18.
So 18 is our budget amendment for 2025's budget. So that's adjusting revenues based off of forecasts that my team has projected for revenues for the year, as well as making a couple of other expenditure adjustments that are just the preliminary expenditure adjustments, like our vacancy savings, because we've achieved that $11 million that was set out for in the general fund, and ensuring that for certain projects or intergovernmental revenues, that money is being moved. So every year we get an allocation from the state for pension turnbacks. That's one of the items of the 16 that we're adjusting for. Or we've done payments for I-30 crossing project with RDOT this year. That wasn't originally in the budget. And so this basically confirms that, as well as the purchase of several pieces of equipment last week that the board approved. And we said we would come back with a budget amendment to enact the funding for those purchases.
Okay. 19. I think that's one Director Wyrick asked about.
That's the one, yes, that's the 3% on the base, and so all that money for business licenses, except for the car rental, which is pledged for the 2003 bonds, which goes to the parking garage fund, all goes into the general fund.
Okay, and 20.
That one's yours.
Good afternoon. All right. So thanks once again for the opportunity to talk about this topic. As we spoke last couple of weeks, we had a presentation from Raf Ellis 2 weeks ago. Following that, we spoke about the proposed solid waste services rate increase last week. Following that, we had questions from the board specifically asking us what would happen if we did not increase the fee. So we've prepared a short presentation here, and we can answer any questions that you have after that. So the first thing that I'm going to touch upon is some of the considerations of not doing this. So that's the first thing I'll speak about. Then I'll pass it on to Grant, and he'll touch upon a summary of what are the fee increases when you combine solid waste, Central Arkansas Water, and water reclamation over the next 5 years, and also show you a regional comparison with some of the other cities in the region as to how we compare with them when you combine all those bills together. And last, he'll talk about some of the options that we've looked at from a fee standpoint, and then we'll answer questions. So the first thing, if we don't do this, first and foremost, the issue is going to be failure of service. And we're not going to be able to replace any of our equipment. And as you all know, and I've said this in the past, and our consultants said it too, there's a clear correlation between the age of our fleet and missed garbage pickup. So that'll be our first issue. The next thing is going to be compounding of financial issues. So as you can see in this graph, we've showed it a couple of times, but we'll go through this one more time. The dark blue items in the bottom of that graph, that's the money that we need for the closure and the post-closure care, and the light blue is the 15% target reserve that we are supposed to have. So, and the dark green line that that's there shows you what will happen to our balance, if we don't do the rate increase. The dotted green line kind of shows you what it needs to be based on the proposed fee increase. The next issue we're going to have is compliance. As I said, we're required to have closure and post-closure, costs accounted for. That's $13.1 million that we need to have. And the other thing is our local requirement of 15%. So both of those things will not be able to be met. In the next 5 years, all our funds will dwindle down and we won't have these monies left over. And last but not least, we'll have issues related to our pickup. We will not be able to implement our routing software, which is going to be really key to reducing our number of missed garbage pickups and also our efficiency in our routes. And, we've talked about it, and I said we shouldn't do it, but reduction of services would need to be looked at because we cannot continue to provide those services at the cost that we have right now. With that, I'll pass it on to Grant and let him go over the rest of the stuff.
All right, I'm gonna briefly touch on the waste utility bill comparison. This first slide, I'd like to draw your attention to the table at the top. This basically shows how Little Rock's combined utility bill looks like for an average customer, just based on our assumptions that we made and that the utilities have provided. You'll see that if the increase passes for solid waste in 2026, the bill will go from approximately $92 a month to $107, which is roughly a 16.5% increase. After that, so years 2 through 5, the following 2 through 5 years, all the way to 2030, that bill levels off, and the annual increases are around 6%. So it becomes a lot less impactful after year 1. The solid waste increase does not have a considerable impact on the overall bill. As you can see from this, whenever you do the full utility stack. If you look at the graph below the table, that basically is a visual breakdown of the fees from each utility, just to help provide some context to see where the majority of the fees are coming from. And the next slide shows how Little Rock's utility stack compares to the region. And as you can see, we're roughly in the middle there, highlighted in red. So we're relatively favorably positioned from that standpoint in the middle third, just based on this analysis. And there's a couple things that you should note just when looking at this, because it's not always apples to apples. Some of these cities offer their own utilities. Water and sewer are handled under the city's jurisdiction, not privately held. For example, Dallas, Texas, DWU, Dallas Water Utilities, they have their own water sewer utility that allows them to control rates, and they also benefit from larger populations. So you can see Dallas is on the lower end of the spectrum in this analysis, but they also have a population of 1.5 million. So that smaller rate is distributed over a larger population, further helping them drive their costs down. Little Rock doesn't necessarily have that big of a population, and so we have about 60,000 customers that are serviced. So that's about 60,000 single-family households and a couple small commercial businesses that we service that we get to distribute our rates across. And so, which in turn kind of makes our rate just a little bit higher than it would be a Dallas, Texas, or a Houston, Texas, as you can see in this presentation. Also, you can see that Houston, Texas does not have a solid waste enterprise fund, and so what that means is they have to adjust their sales tax to cover all the solid waste operating fees, and and that is a complex approach, and it's definitely not recommended in the industry. It lacks transparency, and enterprise funds are supposed to be self-sufficient, and so the fees that we are charging directly cover the operating expenses. It's a lot easier to track and manage. So with that, I'll transition into a couple of the options that we have considered, and just wanted to show you how those play out whenever you distribute the overall increase over 1 year, 2 year, and 3 years. That is the scenario. So scenario 1 here is the scenario that we're proposing in the ordinance tonight, and next week. And that is a $10.39 increase in year 1, $2 a month for the next 4 years thereafter. And so you can see in the far right column, that's the total impact to the residential customer. So you can see that the more you spread it out, so scenario 2, year 1 would be a $7 increase, year 2 would be another $7 increase, which is a total of about $14 over the course of 2 years, whereas if you look at the 2 years prior in scenario 1, that's $10 plus $2, that's $12. So what you're seeing here is that the time value of money is lost. And so what we would have to do to make scenario 2 or scenario 3 work is we would have to delay our capital investments. And so what that means is that you see lower rates on the front end, but a greater overall impact over the forecast period. So you can see scenario 1 over 5 years has an overall impact of $18.39. Scenario 2 has an overall impact of $20. And scenario 3 has an overall impact of $21.25 over the course of 5 years. And so we're here to say that, yes, you can lower the rates, the rate increases, but it does not help you in the long run. And so that basically paints the picture that scenario 1 is the preferred alternative. That's why we chose it. That's why our consultants suggested that we do it. And it also allows us to get all of our capital needs handled on the front end and not have to wait another 2-3 years to get that done. The next slide is something that we've showed before. Our consultant showed it. I'm going to show it again just to kind of reinforce the time value of money. And you can see that the blue line there on the graph to the left is the cumulative consumer price index, which is all commodities averaged out together. And then the red line is the garbage and trash collection CPI. And so you can see there's quite a bit of separation between what the market is actually doing with all consumer goods and what the trash market is doing, and it's going at a rate that's much higher than average inflation. And so with that being said, you know that next year the cost for a garbage truck is going to be more, and the year after that it's going to be even more. And so that's all that we're trying to show by these scenarios, because you did ask, so we wanted to present that to you. And with that, I'll open it up to questions about this.
Director Hines?
My question was on, I don't have any questions.
Director Adcock?
Yes. Grant, on the first page of this, you talk about opening a new cell, that we need a new cell. If we wasn't dumping North Little Rock, Jacksonville, and Sherwood in our cell, if we just got rid of them completely, how long then would we be able to go without having to have a new cell? Because when I am talking to people and they find out that we're giving them such a sweet deal on dumping their trash in our landfill, and then I see that we're going to have a new cell, I think that's a real problem for me.
Yeah,
Director
so
Adcock, we can't just stop them from using our cell. We can't stop them under state law, and we can't stop them under the federal Constitution because Congress has enacted certain provisions that deal with the waste removal, and cities aren't free just to say you can't come here anymore. And we are a regional solid waste district, which was created by statute and is operated by the county. Now, in terms of fees, I can't say anything about that, but I just want you to know we do not have authority simply to stop the city of North Little Rock from coming to our landfill.
So we can make the citizens of Little Rock, the residents of Little Rock, pay more because we're taking other cities' trash into our landfill.
We can also make the municipal customers pay more as well. We just have to wait till 2027 to do that once the current agreement is up. And that is definitely proposed in this plan.
Where is it in this plan?
Let's see. Sorry, I have the old presentation here with me too, which is where that was included. And while I'm looking for that, I will have you know that the volume that our municipal customers bring in make up for about less than 2% of the overall trash that comes into our landfill. So the overall impact is minimal.
Do you classify North Little Rock and the other cities as commercial?
I'm sorry?
Do you classify North Little Rock's trash as commercial trash?
No, we do not. I don't have that slide with me. But basically what we presented last week is that the municipal customers, the cost to operate and basically dispose of their trash is roughly $37 a ton. Right now they're currently getting charged $22.10 a ton. So we plan to increase their fees accordingly in 2027 to cover our operating expenses, and that way we're not subsidizing anybody. They're paying the rate that it costs to do business.
So at present time, they're $15 that we're paying on their trash.
They're paying $22.10 a ton at the gate, and our residents are not. The two aren't the same.
Okay.
They're paying a gate fee. Our residents are paying a monthly usage fee. We dispose of municipal trash, but we provide all these services to our residents of yard waste pickup, bulky item service, roll-off dumpsters, so it's a different classification.
Thank you.
Director Capiris.
Grant, thank you. Going back to your time money graph, if you, either one of them, if you look at scenario 1, 2, and 3, can you calculate with the equipment you have right now the percent that will break down so that timely picking up garbage, what would that do if you use scenario 2 or 3? What's your rate of breakdown of equipment?
Our rate of breakdown, I don't have the exact rate of breakdown on our equipment, but as we shared the last couple times, we have an average age of fleet of about 6.3 years. So that means that they're in the shop sometimes more than they're on the road. So it's greater than 50%, I know, and that's just the struggles that we have to deal with old fleet.
But if you use scenario 2 or 3, that would go up even higher. So if you're 50% right now, just a guesstimate, what would it go up if you went for years 2 and 3?
So scenario 2 and 3, now these are improvements, and so we would basically probably cut that in half, to maybe 25, 30%. If we're just using the 50% as a standard, because we are still funding our capital needs in year one, a portion of them in year one, the rest of them in year two. If you go to scenario three, then more in scenario three, but you do have more breakdown and more maintenance struggles because the needs are right now. The needs are not 3 years from now. And so the trucks that we have issues with today, we'll still have issues with 3 years from now, but we'll get the luxury of replacing maybe a third of them.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
You're still gonna have to, with scenario 2 and 3, you're still gonna have to use a significant part of your present fleet.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Wyrick, then Director Miller, then Director Hines.
Thank you. Grant, this weekend, I tried to figure out my water bill. And one of the things that I had trouble with was what the additional charges are on my bill, which is franchise fees and sales tax and those kinds of things. And I went out to look at the ordinance for the franchise fees, and there was no percentage of franchise fees in the ordinance. So I talked to Nick and talked to Tom. Nick said it was 10%. Tom was going to try to research and figure out what it really is supposed to be, because it says in the ordinance something about it's already predetermined or something. I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but at any rate, I don't know what the real franchise amount is, but I'm pretty sure wastewater and the water company are billing 10% franchise fees. At any rate, so I'm trying to calculate what my next bill would be. And when I look at your numbers on here for 2026, there's something that's not quite right about them, because you've got Water Reclamation Authority on here for $44.76 in 2026, and that would be for somewhere around 7,000 of our customers, and that's based on the usage, and that 44.76 goes with 6 CCFs. When I look at my bill, I had 6 CCFs on it, and that was $51.15. I've got water for $23.75, and then irrigation for $27.40. But on top of that, I've got other fees, watershed fee, infrastructure fees, franchise fees, sales tax fees. So my overall bill is $67.35. When I look at my wastewater, I have a monthly charge of $27.33 with the service line franchise fees of $273. For that is a total of $31.06. And I'm still trying to figure out what the impact's going to be on our customers, is what my goal is. On the solid waste, it's $29.69, which almost matches. And then it doesn't have franchise fees, but it has sales tax. And then for billing us, you have a billing service fee, you have a franchise fee, and sales tax on that. So the overall bill, starting out with not even any increases on it, is $132.95. And I'm in I'm at 6,650 customers that are out there, which is not quite the largest number. There's a group where they use 4 CCFs. It's around 9,000 customers. So I don't know if you were trying to use a general fee to represent what the cost would be, but I'm already at $132.95 for my bill today, based on my 6 CCF usage. So how do we estimate for what the low impact would be and what the high impact would be? We got 2,000 customers that use 10 CCFs, and their bill would be 6535. So I don't think we're telling exactly the whole story for 2026 and the rest of the years. I think we need to know what our franchise fee is, Tom. Have you figured that out yet?
Not totally.
Okay. Okay, I think we need to know what that is, and then I would like to see some other estimates. I like the idea that you came in and gave us some options, 1, 2, and 3, but my goal was to try to figure out a way to reduce the cost to the customer, which you did. And so I want to look at this further, but I wanted to share with you where I was trying to get to and what the real impact was going to be on the customers. And there seems to be some differences between my real bill and what you're showing here.
Yeah, that's a great point, and there are a lot of factors to consider when doing these estimations. And if we talk to 10 people, they're all going to say their bill is slightly different, plus or minus $10, $15. So it's really hard for us to I guess describe the low end, median, high end. We use the rates that the utilities provided in their statements when they did their average estimations. And so, you also have to consider levelized billing for water. I have irrigation system as well. And so summertime, my bill's really high, but wintertime, it's really low. Whereas if you're looking at straight across the board, that your bill may be higher or lower, depending on what month you're looking at. But it's very difficult to give you that comparison. But we tried to do our best with the numbers that we had and made the same assumptions that the utilities did, just to kind of give you an overall look of what it would look like. Now, we do have to be mindful that it's plus or minus depending on how much you use.
The lower rates on the water bills, there's like 2,900 customers. So we've got a big base out there that are going to fall in a different category as far as being charged on their bill. I tried to estimate what my new bill might be, and I came up with $150.29. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I estimated based on what I knew about franchise fees and what we had come up with for wastewater and for the water company. And so if you look at my bill, that's $1,803 for a year is what my water bill would be. So that's a lot of money. So anyway, I want to look at this some more, but that's one of the things that I noticed from your presentation today.
Thank you.
Director Miller?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to think way outside the box on this, so probably work with me on this a little bit. If we get this software that we have, it'll be able to help us with our routes and pickups and help us do a whole lot of other things that we can't do now as far as tracking. Now, some residents, they don't need a weekly pickup. They have a trash bin and they don't put a lot of trash in it. But right now, we go by everybody's house on a fixed route. Is it possible with this software to determine with customer input, residents input, who really needs a weekly pickup, who may need a pickup every other week or so? So I don't know how crazy that sounds, but again, I know in the past, my trash bin's not full at all. It's not even half full. And so I don't need a weekly pickup. So can the software do that at all? I mean, am I just completely thinking outside the box, just crazy thinking here?
So I think what you're describing there is often a creative solution for a very small rural city. However, the city of Little Rock, it would be virtually impossible to divvy up the routes just based on who wants it once a week versus who wants it twice a week. And so There are technologies out there that measure the bins when they're picked up to kind of determine, how much are we getting average per customer from the collections. This software does not include that. We didn't see it as being super valuable for the cost of that provided service. And so, while I understand what you're saying, I don't think it's feasible for the city of Little Rock to adjust. You either pick one or the other. It's either once a week or it's once every other week.
So how do we come up with the size of these trash bins in the past? I mean, there's all one uniform size. Is it just based on the trucks that we have to fit the bins? Who determined what the size of these trash bins that we have?
Yeah, so at one point, there was a study done, and we, this was before my time, but a 96-gallon cart is what we decided was sufficient for the average customers. And so, some cities, if you have more than what will fit in a cart, you put it beside the cart, and the trash service will pick it up for an extra fee. We, however, don't do that. We say you fit it in the cart, and that's what we pick up. If you put it beside the cart, we don't pick that up. If you don't fill up your cart, that's okay. We still dump whatever's in there. And so it's kind of like the one size that doesn't necessarily fit all, but it's the best solution for the city. And 96-gallon carts are very standard.
So you did say that there are rural areas may have software that determines pick up this week, not pick up next week, or
Not necessarily softwares, but there may be services that they can elect to do. So, some cities you can elect to have recycling. If you don't want recycling at your house, you say, I'm not going to pay for that service. Those are really small cities that have the flexibility to do that when you're talking maybe 1,000, 2,000 customers, but not necessarily the case with a city this size.
okay. We may just want to think about some type of a la carte type billing that puts more control with the residents. Again, I don't know how crazy that is. I don't know if that would really even work, again, city our size, but, some people don't need weekly trash pickup. Some may not need it every 2 weeks. And so we have this fixed cost based on going by everybody's house every week. And so I want us to start maybe thinking a little bit differently with that. I don't know how quickly something like that could be implemented, but I'm trying to think of ways to maybe try to help reduce some of this cost that we're going to have for our residents. And quite frankly, I think it would be probably good for the life of our fleets too. So let's please think through that. And if there's some cities our size that do that, I'd love to know who they are and how they implement that.
Yes, sir. We can definitely look into that.
Thank you.
Director Hines?
Thanks, Grant. Director Miller, I'll share with you a story from our friend, City Manager Bruce Moore, when we first started recycling, that it cut down on the amount of trash I had going into my 96-gallon. I thought, well, Bruce, why can't we go every 2 weeks? He goes, I don't know if that'd be a good idea, especially if you let trash sit out in a 100-degree summer day in your garage. And I didn't really think about it. I was thinking about it in terms of how we save money, just like Director Miller. But I think from a health prospect, every 2 weeks. But I think it has to do with that. Along that line, and I know I've brought this up under previous trash issues, what are we charging for the second can if somebody has a second can now? And I'm going to give you my perspective on it. We used to do it as less than the first can pickup, discounted because we're already there, because of what Raftellus uses as cost of service. To me, and I'm probably going to catch it from folks that have big families and produce a lot of trash, but with the recycling cans we have, to me, I think it ought to be a little more expensive if you have that second can of trash picked up, because one, it fills our dump up earlier, and I think we should address that. The other question is, with our new tracking software, I know we got people that got more than one trash can that aren't paying for them. And so will we be able to get this? I know on the recycling, if I have somebody says there's a missed pickup, I can call the guys at Waste Management. They can go to that driver, pull the camera and said, we pulled up at 7:45, their can wasn't out. And so I think that's one of the things too, that from an efficiency standpoint, do we have any idea, and this is the question I asked earlier, what kind of efficiencies we can have to keep driving costs down from being able to plan our routes better, make sure guys are not missing pickups because they're using a paper map, they're just driving where the GPS tells them to. So what are the potential savings with the new GPS and routing system and a route optimization software, which I'm probably pretty sure we plug this in, they're going to show us some better ways to run routes.
That's correct, Director Hines. So there's a lot of great benefits to the new routing software technology that we're proposing. It's basically a digital route management and service tracking platform to modernize our solid waste operations. It replaces the paper maps and with real-time routing, communication, and performance tools for supervisors, drivers, and residents. Where we could even communicate directly with residents through the software, through the app, if residents elect to download the app and they can see when their trash trucks coming to pick up their garbage and all that stuff. So, like you said, the software does model and it tests route changes to improve resource efficiency. You can basically plug in the routes that we have today, all the house stops, and it'll optimize through computer generation. It'll optimize routes to say, do you need more over here on this day, less over here on this day? Because, we factor in the distance that you have to travel from the landfill. So on Monday, trash pickup day in West Little Rock, our routes are much smaller because they have to travel all the way to West Little Rock, come back, dump, and sometimes go back to get more trash. And so, over the course of an 8-hour day, we take those things into consideration. But this is a live software that will allow us to make changes on the fly. Now, we really don't want to be messing with people's trash day on a regular occurrence. So we're going to be playing with it. We're going to try to figure out what works the best and then ultimately come up with a plan to improve that efficiency. Like you mentioned, Director Hines, the ability to audit carts with our residents, it has that functionality because the data is imported into the system from our current billing, and so it knows what residents have 2 carts, 3 carts, and so when you pull up to an address, it has 1 can on the screen. They pick up that can. If there's multiple cans there, then that's automatically reported to the system, and so we know, hey, this address over here, we picked up 3 cans there. They only have 1. Go pull them. And so a lot of cans get left over when people move from house to house. So people are getting a lot of free trash service. So that's going to really help us audit the system in that way. It's also real-time visibility. It helps us to see real-time the completed stops and pending stops. People sometimes call at 4 o'clock wondering why their trash didn't get picked up that day, and we can log in, assure them that our truck's still out. It's actually in your neighborhood right now, and you should get service before the end of the day. It also provides a nice functionality where if a truck breaks down in the middle of a route, the software supervisor can go in there, assign all the stops that they did not pick up because they can see them real time. They automatically assign all those stops to another driver. It pops up on their screen, and all of a sudden they're the helper route. And so they can't finish their day until all stops are accounted for. And so it also utilizes AI technology to determine when when carts can't be serviced due to blockages, like if it's behind a car, something of that nature, the truck slows down, it gets next to where the cart's supposed to be, it takes a picture, it marks it as a blocked cart. If there's no can out, the truck slows down, it sees it, there's no can out, it moves on, it takes a picture, it logs it in the system. So it's a lot easier for us to see real time who's getting their trash picked up and who's not and why. Right now, if we don't service a house, we have to go back into our manual system, type in the address, go pull video footage that takes sometimes 6 hours. But now we can see real time. We can filter it by block cans for that day. We can filter it by not outs for that day and get residents answers quicker. So a lot of efficiencies there that will be improved upon.
Okay. But we don't have a total dollar potential savings. Does the vendor have it?
That's not fully realized at this moment. And so that'll be part of the first year's exercises to determine, okay, where were we at in 2025? Where are we at the end of 2026? And what are our realized savings? And so what's before you tonight is a 3-year contract with Elegy. And so we will monitor that each year to understand the efficiencies of that to determine ultimately its worth.
Okay, so going to these scenario rate proposals. So I'm assuming that if we do the $10.39 increase, we're gonna do a pay-go. Are we gonna do any bonding or revenue bonds to do that, is the question.
Yeah, and Nick's also eager to talk about that as well. I think that's just the PDF. So I did have a slide for questions about our debt financing. So the city has a 5% pay-as-you-go policy, basically that all the debt financing, the city should pay for 5% of that expenditure through unrestricted cash reserves. So we meet all those policies, so not everything is going to be fully debt financed. Is this the slide now? Okay. Let's see here. I can pull that up. So for things such as landfill expansion, those are estimated to be 10-year notes, approximately 5%. Those will be more long-term debt solutions.
So when you say the rate, you're talking about we're only gonna finance 5%, or is?
The reverse. We're gonna pay for 5% of that up front,
Okay,
and then the rest
so
of
we're
it.
gonna debt finance 95%?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to understand. All right.
And that's not in every case, but we do have that flexibility built in. And another thing to also realize is that, we've done a good job as far as trying to look at alternate sources to kind of help offset some of these costs and future long-term financing obligations. And that is the landfill gas to energy project. Right now, it's a very volatile market. We expect to see revenues from that hopefully starting in 2026. That could be anywhere from $200,000 a year if the market is just absolutely absent, to upwards of $2 million a year that we could see in revenue just from that. Basically
selling our methane.
Basically selling our gas to the industry. And so that money we're pledging to go towards all of our long-term capital needs at the landfill, such as cell expansion, closure, post-closure liabilities, and that sort of thing. Okay. So the savings from that is not fully realized at this time, so we didn't feel comfortable including it in the rate plan, but it will be in 5 years from now when we take another look at this.
Okay. I really kind of thought the spreads would be bigger on total impact. So, but I want to make sure I'm understanding you right. If we did something and choose a different scenario, you're definitely saying it's going to slow down capital because of this 95.5, right, Nick? But come over here where I can see. You can just nod. We can't pull even if we took the rate increase and did one of these different scenarios, we can't really bond enough. We don't have enough revenues to bond, to front load this. If we, our debt service would, I guess what I'm trying to say, if we did that, our debt service would be a lot greater and it would lead to a much bigger spread.
Yeah, we wouldn't fund as much capital up front. So
But we could, but it would lead to the rates being even higher in the subsequent years, 3, 4, and 5.
yes, it would. I mean,
you see what I'm
so
saying?
we would
Because-
adjust the cap. So the proposed rates have approximately $26 million of proposed capital in 26. So that would have to come down if the rates don't go up by that $10 because you don't have that resources. There's other things we can do from a bond financing perspective to mitigate some of that, but I'd have to work with Stevens.
Okay, I
on
just
that.
want everybody to get a full picture of why this. I thought I had a pretty good understanding of it, and this helps explain it. So, yeah, I think we're getting in the weeds a little bit, but I think folks need to understand, this isn't exactly PAYGO, but it's the best alternative we have. And I think not getting in this boat, again in 5 years, I think we're probably about 2 years too late to this dance on doing this rate increase.
We did look at a cash-funded operation, and it was quite alarming. Rates of about $75 a month just for solid waste alone.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor Scott, and thank you. You've answered a lot of the questions from, based on what Director Hines and Miller asked. I think we remember last summer when we had so many trucks that were broken. And it seemed like almost every week we had a lot of issues. And I know when we order fire trucks and different fire apparatus, it takes a long time to get those. Are we able to get the trucks a lot quicker than we are with fire trucks, for example?
Yes, a lot quicker. We've had vendors quote us a month to 2 months sometimes, depending on availability, but definitely less than 6 months.
Can you send us this presentation via email?
Yes.
And to kind of follow what Director Miller was saying, I think with a lot of the complaints I get when people have had a missed pickup and they've asked, why don't I get a credit when they miss a pickup? And could you just address that publicly so people can hear the answer to that?
Yeah, so usually a missed pickup, our staff is very good about coming back out to pick that up. Very rare cases have we ever missed it for a whole week. That does not happen in our operation that people tell me about. Now, we can't necessarily, it's not easy to go into the water system and tell them to add a credit. So their system's not set up like that. And so, we make it a priority to go back and pick it up. So, it's not necessarily a failed service. It was just not at the time that it was supposed to be. So we come back, we rectify the situation and pick up the garbage.
One of the issues that's sort of related to this, I've been having some problems in Hillcrest where we have parking, really tight parking, and sometimes the cans can't be picked up. And I even talked to Bruce about this like 4 or 5 years ago, and there was no desire to do like a zoned parking like you have in a lot of big cities. Yeah. But as we get to, if we have more accessory dwelling units and we have more cars on the street, it's something that we're going to have to look at. It's not going to affect the rates for garbage, but it is something that we're going to have to address in some department in the city.
I agree. It is a tricky scenario.
Director Hines?
So I was trying to figure out a colorful vernacular to talk about this rate increase, and I was going to use a different term, but then I thought we're talking about garbage, so give you my thoughts to my fellow board members is, any way you look at it, it's a garbage sandwich with the increased cost of living that's going up. But when it comes to eating a garbage sandwich, I surely don't want to nibble on it. So that's the best clean way I can put that. So
Well put. That was clean. All right, any questions? Director Miller?
Are we off? I want to talk about Resolution 21.
Resolution 21. All right, go right ahead.
Here, let me ask you, and again, this this is one resolution expressing support for Director Richardson and request that he resign from his position. Let me ask you, how many votes would it take for this resolution to pass?
6.
So if you look at Director Richardson, so we start off with 9 possible votes with this, right? If Director Richardson's not here, he can't vote.
Right.
So there can only be 4 other, well, you can't lose 4 votes.
Right.
So I'm just thinking from a practical standpoint, if this thing can really pass. Because, again, it seems kind of personal. And obviously, if Director Richardson comes back, he's going to be looking as things pass. He's looking at these people who said, we thought you ought to resign. I really, again, I've expressed my opinion about this, but I just think it's just something that, from a personal standpoint, we shouldn't be getting into this type of politics where we're going after each other, because we could do resolutions on anybody, on anything. But also, again, there's a process for this that begins with the people in Ward 2. They picked up a recall position. Let's let this thing play out. There can be laws that could be passed in the future to deal with this. But this is a fellow member of our board. And I think it is something that we shouldn't go down this route.
Director Miller, I need to inform you, I've given you some incorrect information. There will only be 8 members of the board that can vote on this. 1 member has recused because of knowledge of facts in a professional setting.
I kind of knew that. I believe, just thinking through that. So then 8 votes. 8 people can vote on this.
Right.
So you can only lose
3.
3. No, 2. Because
No,
if
2
3,
would be 6. It only takes 6 to pass it. If 2 people don't vote for it, it could pass.
if 2 people don't vote for it.
Right.
So
It's 3. Basically, if 5 people vote for it, it fails. It fails because of lack of 6. So if 3 people vote against it, because only 8 people there,
Or
it'll
don't
fail.
vote. It doesn't,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
they don't have to vote against it.
It has to have 6 votes to pass. So if there aren't 6 votes to pass, it won't pass.
even if it passes, it doesn't do anything. It's just, it doesn't compel Director Richardson to do anything. It's just a meaningless vote to take that I think is meaningless. But I'm trying my best to take a look at this in a way, express it in a way that gets my full thoughts out. Because I look at this resolution. Right now, the resolution has our names on it as sponsors. Is that the way it's supposed to be written up?
That was done because there is an ordinance that says that sponsors of an ordinance can sign it along with the mayor. And that was done as the first draft, and I haven't taken anybody off because I'm not asking them how they're gonna vote. I'm not counting votes.
Well,
What
I
the
don't want
final
my,
one would look like, if there were 6 votes, would be whether they wish to sign it or not, or whether they would wish for the mayor to sign it. That gets complicated because the mayor has already stated he would veto any such resolution. So,
I don't want my name on this thing. If a sponsor, put the sponsor's name on it, don't put anybody else's name on it. I don't want my name on this resolution, even the way it's written up now. That's the way I'm looking at it. So does my name have to be on this?
no,
Okay, take my name off.
okay.
Take the other person's name off who has expressed they can't vote.
Okay.
All right? So now we're down to, well, I'm looking from a realistic standpoint. Well, I know Director Phillips is not going to be on it, so his name probably needs to come off of it too. So that would be one.
Director Miller, I don't mind taking anybody's name off that tells me that.
Okay,
But I don't want to assume anything.
I get it. I get it. I'm sorry to go down that route. I can just speak for myself.
Right.
Take my name off.
And Director Lewis has so said. I understand that, but until he says to me, I don't want my name on it,
What about the person who says they can't vote because they have knowledge?
well, I can take that one off too, because that person is barred from voting.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Again, I strongly express my position that in opposition to this. I just think it's too personal. I don't want to go down that route. The tenor of politics today, nationally and even local, state, is just one that is very inflammatory. I don't think this does anything to help calm that down. I just think it fans more fires of division, and I don't want this board to go down that route. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Director Hines?
Thank you. By any logic, then, this board should never pass another resolution again because it would be meaningless, and we do it as a board. The body politic of this city, a resolution is expression of our wishes and desires. And there are some of us on this board who wish and desire to make it known that we think Director Richardson should resign. And I may very well not have enough votes to pass this, but we have folks in Ward 2 and the general public that have expressed that. You're right. It has nothing other than a expression of the board of directors as to what that's what a resolution is, just an expression. You know, you've made it very clear. But as this board goes, and he is my peer, and if somebody, because of health reasons, has not been able to show up and do their job for over 2 years, I think it's unforgivable to the folks in Ward 2. It's not political. It's not mean. It's just a statement of fact. And anybody, and I can only speak for myself, but if I was in the same position, I would have resigned long ago. My family would have not allowed it, and I think it's a disservice to the citizens of the city that he represents. And you know, that's my feeling on this, and I understand that people want to make something out of this that it's not, and that's fine if they want to.
Director Lewis?
I get it, that it's being viewed as an expression, but I feel that's an expression that this body should not take. And I can only put myself in these shoes. If it were me, I would be wanting the residents who put me in this seat to be speaking out on what my fate is. I do feel if we had not have taken away virtual, Director Richardson would be doing a whole lot more than what he is able to. So I have to stand for what I feel is right, because again, if this was me and if it was Ward 6 residents, I would want them to take the position, which Ward 2, I believe they've already started the process. Maybe they need to just carry it out. But at the end of the day, I would not want this board speaking on my behalf. And it's easy for us to say what we would do if we were in the seat or how we would resign. We don't know what we would be doing. We're not in the shoes yet. But I think it's up to the due diligence of Ward 2 residents to see this carried out. So I won't be supporting this. And I still stand against it. I spoke against the whole virtual component back when that went down. I'm not supportive of that either. I wish we could bring that back, but that's neither here nor there. So again, I am against this. I will not be supporting.
All right, any questions on item 23 or 24? I mean, 22 or 23? Director Lewis? All right, we still have time allotted. I know any budget questions? All of our department directors here, and I know we committed to getting some questions answered to Director Webb and Director Peck by Friday. Those were sent to her on Friday. I believe City Manager Hubbard, at the request of Director Webb, forwarded those to board members on Saturday or Sunday. And so just any questions, I think, all right. Director Adcock?
Yes, when will we get the breakdown of each department's budget?
Nick, I think that's is in the presentation, yeah, Nick.
As far as I understand it, that's been emailed to all the board members.
No, we've not got a sheet that has each department individually.
You have the entire packet. You have over 200 pages of all the department information that's in that email that was sent out originally related to Director Webb's questions. It's within there and has every department within that
I
packet.
must have missed it because I've been waiting for it. So if you would, okay, I want to make sure I get it, and I want to make sure it's what we've had in the past, that each sheet, each department has a broken down budget on a sheet.
Yep, it's exactly what is in the budget book. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Director Webb?
Thank you. And to follow that up, it is in there, but I can't open it on my iPad. I mean, I can open all the other attachments, but that I can't open.
You may need to do it on a PC. I mean, it's 200 pages, so it's probably because of the gigabytes on your iPad. So you may have to do it on it.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah,
And
but we'll get it printed out for you too. If it needs to be done.
And I have a few additional questions based on the answers to these, and I'll send those tonight. And I'll request in advance that they be sent to everybody. But also, some of the questions, I need to see this department budget. I think I have specific questions, but without seeing that by department, I can't be 100% sure.
Is there any question we could probably answer since we got department directors here now? And the reason why I say this is just because we do have a calendar, and I do know there's some board members who won't be here because Christmas is on a Thursday. So there may be some board members or folks who may not want to be here on the 23rd. So next week is the 16th. I mean, we would love to get the budget passed on the 16th like some other cities in our state. But if not, I mean, we'll have to do it on the 30th. And so it's just, I mean, we could do it on 23rd as well, but I always want to be cognizant of folks and families. But I just want to remind everyone, we are barking against, we have a definite deadline. We can't go past December 31st based off of new state law now. And so.
I'll send them tonight.
But I guess the question, is there anything controversial that we think we can probably get it done on the 16th, or do we think we need to be, what I would like to do is be able to tell staff, hey, it's not going to get done to the 30th, so if you want to take some vacation, that we can talk about it offline. I don't see. Anybody got any questions? any questions?
I'm waiting on some information from Public Works.
Okay. On the pothole repair stuff? Yeah. Do you have it?
I'll email it tomorrow.
Email it now, if you got it now.
Type it in a memo and send it.
Okay. All right. All right. Going once, no more questions? Director Miller? You got to touch it again.
Mayor, is Chief Helton still here?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Chief Helton?
And and this is no surprise, but of course, this past weekend, we had a demonstration in our city by some white supremacists. And
Aaron, can you go get Chief Helton? Oh, someone did?
Yeah.
Okay.
and social media is abuzz with, I think, a whole lot of misinformation about what happened, what the city's involvement was, what the LRPD was involved with. I wanted the chief to come here tonight and talk specifically about what we did with regard to our actions as it relates to this hate group, these cowards, these racists that came to our city with their faces covered and walking up and down the streets of our city in front of Central High School and at the state capitol, which we don't have any control of. So, Chief, I really want to give you a chance to speak to the public to try to dispel some of these stuff that's on social media that is totally inaccurate. So please, Chief, take your time with that and share with us and to the public about what we did in regard to our actions. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Director Miller. Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Board, City Manager Hubbard, City Attorney. So in reference to what Director Miller is speaking about, I've got to, in order to keep the timeline together, I've got it kind of laid out. I'll give it to you as it is, and then I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So early last week, detectives with our Special Investigations Division received very limited information that a group, which I'm not going to mention the name because it's like anything else. I don't think groups deserve to have names mentioned. I'll just refer to them as a group. Known to sympathize with neo-Nazi ideology, would be filming a recruitment video at the state capitol grounds on December the 6th between the hours of 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. This information was shared to the state capitol police as well as the Arkansas State Police. On the day of the event, members from the Special Investigations Division, along with the state police and the state capitol police, arrived at the capitol that morning to monitor the situation. However, the group did not show at the time that had been provided. We waited around for approximately an hour, determined no shows, so when we left, we notified our counterparts at state police, state capitol police. If anything develops, just call us back. At approximately 1:30 p.m., we received information from the state capitol PD that the group had arrived on the north portion of the state capitol grounds near the Little Rock 9 statue. When our detectives arrived on the scene, the group was observed chanting, posturing, and displaying flags that had a swastika symbol on it. At approximately 2:30 p.m., the group then began marching on the sidewalk southbound on Wood Lane to MLK Drive, and then the group traveled south, crossing I-630 while continuing to chant and posture. At this time, a request was made by our detective division for marked patrol units to respond to the area. As they were doing that, the group continued walking on the sidewalk down MLK to Bates, where they ended up turning westbound on Daisy Bates, continually walking on the sidewalks. As their group continued westbound, there was a white Toyota Tacoma pickup truck that came into the area. It was driven by a white male, and it kept pulling alongside the group, honking a horn, yelling at the group, antagonizing them, and starting to impede the flow of traffic. At that point, the group continued to march all the way to Central High School, again, staying on the sidewalk the entire time, where they posed for a picture in front of the school. That group was approached by a group of black males from the neighborhood that attempted to try to fight them. Our patrol units intervened, kept the group separated. The group in question stayed roughly about a little over 8 minutes on the sidewalk in front of Central, and then they left. They began walking southbound, or excuse me, up to Little Rock 9 Way to Daisy Base Drive, where they turned north, eventually onto Schiller Street. Once they got onto Schiller Street, there was a U-Haul box-style truck that was there, and these individuals got into the back of the U-Haul truck. While this was all going on, that white truck that I mentioned earlier came back around, began antagonizing again. Our marked units that were there stopped this individual, identified this individual. He had a suspended driver's license, fictitious, or failed to register his vehicle, and some other traffic violations. So he was cited and his vehicle was towed. We had roughly 3 marked units in that area at the time. As the U-Haul truck pulled off, one of our marked units began to follow the U-Haul pickup truck to initiate a traffic stop after seeing individuals getting back of a box truck, which you cannot ride as passengers in the back of a box truck. But due to the fact that it was in the neighborhood, we had 1 officer there. I did have detectives, undercover detectives that were there, so they will not interfere unless it's a severe officer safety issue. So that officer let the vehicle get out of the neighborhood, for obvious reasons. They end up going up to Woodrow Street, Woodrow onto 630 eastbound. By that time, we had made a request for state police to assist. And keep in mind also, this is all going on about the same time the Southwest City Christmas Parade was going on as well. So manpower was pretty much all over the place. Plus, we were getting ready for the downtown Christmas Parade also. So that officer that followed behind the U-Haul was finally able to get enough, what she believed to be enough officers there with her. And we initiated a traffic stop on I-40 right about just before Springer Boulevard. All the occupants in the vehicle were removed. The driver was identified. He was a white male from Bloomington, Indiana. And I know some of the rumors on social media out there was that these individuals were handled with kid gloves. We didn't make them take off their masks. All the individuals, there were 22 in total. 21 of them were identified, and I'll explain the 22nd here in a moment. There was a gentleman up in the front passenger seat. Everybody was pulled out, talked to, identified. The driver was issued a citation for the improper allowing people to ride it in the back of the truck. He was issued a citation. We identified everybody. It wasn't until at the end, because it was very chaotic. Keep in mind, they're on the interstate. Not a lot of room from a standpoint of pulling your vehicle offside, so you can imagine what it looked like with a bunch of police, a lot of traffic, and then 21 people stacked up on a retaining wall there, so trying to maintain safety for everybody. So the 22nd male who was in the front passenger seat, who was pulled out, his mask was taken off of him. We just failed to get his information, and it just got lost track in the shuffle. But when they did realize that, we had already issued a citation to the driver, told that they were good to go. We cannot compel somebody to give their identification after that. That becomes a Fourth Amendment issue that we weren't going to be able to run into. However, we did tell the driver that all the rest of the remaining 21 people were not going to be allowed to get back in the U-Haul truck. So we made every attempt to contact Rock Region Metro to try to get a bus to come out and pick them up. We were unsuccessful of that. Obviously, a lot of things going on with the various parades. So the decision was made to load them up in all the police cars, and we transported them down off the interstate, because we couldn't leave them there to walk on the interstate. Can't do that. So we transported them down to the parking lot where the watershed entrance is, where they were staged there. We stood by until they called personal vehicles to come pick them up, in which they did. They had people come and pick them up. They left the area. The U-Haul truck in question was returned to a location, a U-Haul location in Sherwood, 30 minutes after it left the watershed. So with that, that is the incident in its entirety.
Director Miller?
May I ask a question, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Do you need a permit to walk down the sidewalk?
No, sir. There's 2 places, and city attorney can back me up. There's 2 places where people can legally protest or demonstrate: parks, public sidewalks. These individuals just walk down the sidewalk. You don't have to have a permit to walk down the sidewalk. It's a public right-of-way. And it's the world we live in, and it's the way our laws are set up.
It's going on social media that the state police stopped the truck and the state police issued the citation. Is that true?
No, sir. Citation was issued by a Little Rock police officer, a female.
And so there is an arrest report available for individuals to pick up through proper channels.
There is an incident report that was written by Little Rock Police Department. It's 29 pages long. The citation is noted on the incident report, and We had our body cameras on.
So is there any evidence that we were out there fist pumping people and shaking hands and smiling and
No, sir.
fraternizing with the group?
I've seen a lot of the misinformation that has been out there on social media. Very frustrating when you see that stuff, but it unfortunately is today the times we live in. There were reports that we had officers that were escorting these people, that we had reports that officers were actually marching with them as they walked down the sidewalk. 100% utterly false.
Director Lewis?
You said escort, because what I can't get past is, so we did escort them, we took them to the watershed, so do you think that's where they picked that information?
No, we have an obligation because we took them out of a box truck, and I can't leave them for safety reasons. If all those officers would have left and just left 21 people standing on the side of the interstate, a tractor trailer rig goes off the road and hits and kills them, who do you think is going to be liable? We are. I'm obligated to make sure we get them safely located to a position. Same way as we tow anybody's vehicle. I'm obligated to make sure that their safety is taken care of. So I can't leave people on the interstate. We moved them down to a location off the interstate to free up traffic, and we stood by until each one of those individuals had a car or somebody came and picked them up.
And again, Chief, you were saying everybody except one person was identified, so obviously you had to have them take their mask off, and people
Yes, sir.
didn't have their mask on, and, okay.
And I will say to that, so all of them were identified. All of them were for out of state, with the exception of one who just recently moved to Arkansas late last month, and he was from Colorado.
Well, thank you, Chief. I really wanted you to come here. It's a two-edged sword for me because I really hate giving individuals more publicity, probably what they wanted, and bringing more attention on this. But I also want us to shine a light on this, not let individuals think that they can come here and not, face whatever consequences that they're having to face here. But with all the stuff that was going on social media, I really wanted to give you a chance to come here before the public and talk about the facts and the timeline that happened, and I really appreciate that, Chief.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
that's all I have.
Thank you. Any more questions, members of the board? All right, meeting adjourned.
Mayor. Now, anybody had any questions, Director Webb? Abdul did respond to the question in regards to the $50,000 or less professional services memo that went out. Okay, yeah. I'll have to follow with you, John.